The difficulties the BNP leader is facing.
Nasty scum! Off our streets!
This is Nick Griffin's honeymoon period. 30 protesters turned up outside a pub to prevent him holding a news conference. BNP security looked on as police kept the pack away from the Ace of Diamonds. Well, as you can see, the protesters have managed to find out where Nick Griffin was going to be holding this news conference. He's inside the pub over there just waiting to speak to us. They believe he's got no right to talk. He says it's all a matter of free speech. Inside, the shutters were down. There was an offer of eggs, but unlike yesterday, nobody to throw them.
That mob is not about freedom of speech. It's about using violence and intimidation to prevent...
While Mr Griffin spoke, MPs at Westminster heard condemnation of the BNP.
Let us all take action together to expose the racist and bigoted policies of the British National Party.
Everyone will agree with what the Prime Minister says about defeating the BNP, and it does mean all mainstream parties making sure they go door to door and they get their voters to go out and vote.
Now that Nick Griffin is an MEP, opponents are still working out how best to deal with him.
The demonstrators were quiet, as you've seen, no trouble, they're entitled to their democratic rights, and I'm glad to see them in our community, because they actually are saying the same thing as this community is saying, that there's no place for the BNP or their policies in this city.
Outside, one protester was arrested. Elected office has made Nick Griffin more of a target. Arif Ansari, BBC North West Tonight.
So that's 2 protests in 2 days for Nick Griffin. Earlier I asked him how he would be able to carry out his job as a Euro MP if these demonstrations continued.
Well, I don't think it will continue. You know, in the end, they'll get bored. They'll have to go back to jobs such as have them. It's unfortunate. You know, it does concern me because I should be out there, you know, meeting constituents, taking on their problems, and trying to get them sorted out. And obviously, protests make it difficult. But in the end, that's not really a question for me. It's a question, or should be, for the leaders of the other political parties, all of whom are signed up to supporting that mob outside our conference today and who attacked us yesterday.
They also find your policies quite uncomfortable, don't they?
Well, actually, I don't think they do. They haven't even got a clue what our policies are. And, you know, they say either they don't know or they're lying. They say that we believe in repatriation. We don't. We want to shut the doors because Britain's full. People who are here legally contributing to our society.
Well, let me just interject there, Nick Griffin. When your deputy, Simon Darby, was asked by a journalist if the BNP wanted non-whites to leave Britain, his answer was essentially yes.
No, our problem is with the illegals, with the bogus asylum seekers, and with the political parties who, between them, have swamped this country. It is a serious problem.
The UKIP party are also in favour of border control. They are also in favour of pulling out of Europe. Now, they don't face this level of anger, do they? It is because you play the race card that you provoke such anger in people.
Well, it's because UKIP is essentially a politically correct safety valve for the British establishment. They don't address certain uncomfortable issues such as we do. For instance, I make no bones about it.
Uncomfortable issues? Like you've mentioned in your 2005 General Election Manifesto the idea of biological separation, the idea that there should be no mixed race relationships, that groups should stick to their own.
We've said that that's how we believe it is in nature, but we've also said very clearly that it's not the job of a political party or a political leader or a government to dictate to people who they fall in love with, who they have children with. But we do have a concern with the way in which globalisation is going to eliminate, in the end, all the different cultures of the world. We think that's a great shame because human diversity is something worthwhile. But if I can come back to why these people hate me, we do address very controversial issues which people like UKIP and the Tories won't dare touch. I'm here to represent anybody, any constituent, black, white, brown or green, who comes to me with a problem. I'll treat them all equally. I would expect members of various ethnic minority communities will probably go and approach the Labour Party because that's the party which has given those communities very large amounts of taxpayers' money.
What if an asylum seeker came to you then? How would you deal with that?
I think that the question of asylum seekers is an issue for the Home Office, which should be applying the law.
It is an issue for you. What would you do if an asylum seeker came to you?
I would view their individual case through the light of our obligations under international law. So if they come from this, if this is the first safe country to which they could come, so if they come from France or Ireland and they're being persecuted there for their religion or their sexuality or their political beliefs, then I'd say you're a genuine asylum seeker, I'll help you. If they come from Nigeria or Pakistan and come past safe countries to get here, they're bogus.
Griffin, because you have gone on record, and I can point this out, in writing in 1999 for Spearhead, you have described homosexuals as repulsive creatures.
No, I described the way in which they were flaunting their way of doing things in public as something which repulses many ordinary people, which it does.
What do you think your election as an MEP for the North West says about the North West people?
I think it says that people in the North West aren't always prepared to be told how to vote by politicians with their snouts in the trough, or by bishops who should look after their empty pews and not interfere in politics.
Thank you very much, Nick Griffin.
Thank you very much.